Welcome back to the Linc Lineup. This is our draft show for the Combine. So it's Combine edition of the Linc Lineup. But we are not going to be doing any more draft content on this channel. We're going to move on to another show. We'll make that announcement later on this week, so you guys know where to find us. But yeah, we're going to keep Eagles content at the Linc Lineup, and then we're going to move the draft stuff, college stuff, to another channel. That way, if you want to watch or listen to Eagles content, you got it. If you want to watch or listen to drafts or college football content, you know where to go. That way, nobody gets confused. But today, we are on the Linc Lineup, and this is the Eagles show. And with me today is Bryce, Eagles fan, and Hunter, who is a poverty franchise loving loser. He loves the Lions, but we like the Lions too somewhat, I think, right? We cheer for the little guys, the little brothers of the NFC. One day you'll get your ring, just not this year or next year. But he's here because he's a draft guy, Big Ten guy, and we got Bryce as always, our draft guy. But the Combine just happened this past weekend, and we're just going to talk winners and losers. There's a lot of prospects that work out, and it's hard to keep up with all of them, but we did our best, I think. And we want to share some knowledge with you guys. So, Bryce, I'll start with you. Give me one winner, any position group at all. Give me one winner that you had for this weekend.
One winner, just for out of all prospects, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I mean, obviously, you can lean toward Xavier Worthy. That we all knew he was fast coming into the combine. He's a really twitchy player when you watch him on the field, but I don't think anybody really knew he had combine record-breaking speed. I definitely didn't. I definitely thought he was going to run low 4.3s, but nothing to potentially break the record. So he definitely he made himself a lot more money than he was going to make previously in the week.
Yep. Definitely. He honestly could have played his way into a first round pick. And it's crazy to think that a 40-yard dash can do that for you. We covered him, was it last week on the wide receivers? It was last week. Yeah. I think he was our seventh or eighth. I can't remember which one it was.
He was our eighth.
His teammate, who also, spoiler alert, will be a winner later on. Hunter, is there anything you want to add about Xavier Worthy?
The guy definitely played himself in the first round. As I was seeing on mocks, he wasn't listed, but now he's definitely made that first round jump. He can be definitely going in the 20 range, unless barring something unexpected with a wide receiver. But he played himself in that first round for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think we could do this all day, where we could be like a wide receiver one. I think the group itself kind of won. I don't think there's anybody that kind of disappointed. I know my boy Johnny Wilson definitely showed up and showed out because he is one big guy, and he's kind of fast for his size. So I can't remember exactly what he ran. I think he ran like a 4.62 or 4.56. I can't remember. But there wasn't really a loser. There wasn't anybody that really, like, I feel like hurt their stock.
Right.
So
I do want to give a shout out to Brian Thomas Jr. running a low sub 4.3 at like 220 pounds. Whatever I can't remember how much he weighed in at, but he's got like, I think they were talking about it during the combine. He's got like close to 30 to 35 pounds on Xavier Worthy, and he ran a 4.3. So I mean, it's really really impressive for somebody that big to be able to run like that.
Yeah, I think him and Xavier Legette kind of raise their stock for being bigger, thicker guys that have good speed. So just putting that disclaimer out there. Most wide receivers probably won, and I don't want to stick to them too much. But Hunter, is there any body that you would have as a winner that's not a wide receiver?
I say the Toledo cornerback Mitchell. Is it
Mitchell?
Quintavious? Yeah,
Quinyon.
Quinyon. Yeah, he was already projected to go late first round in the first mock draft. I think he's played himself into that possibly top 15. Definitely late teens, possibly top 15. That 40 was good. I mean, he looked great out there. Obviously, we know there's Nate Wiggins in there, Kool-Aid, but I think he definitely played himself into that top 15 role.
Yeah. I think he honestly could be the first cornerback off the board. There's a possibility that he could be. The only thing that teams are going to have a hard time with him is, the talent level he faced at Toledo. But other than that, he did his thing in the combine, and athletically, he's great. But there's always there's going to be that concern. But honestly, if I'm a GM, who cares? I feel like he's a football guy, and that's what you want. But moving on, I feel like we should talk about. I want to talk about running backs. I think Trey Benson. I think his stock is raising pretty fast because I feel like the running backs and this combine didn't do anything at all to like raise their stocks. There was nobody that was really impressive. Trey Benson ran a 4.3. And I think that was the fastest by quite a bit. So I know that he's probably going to be the second running back off the board. We haven't released our top 5 running backs yet, but I think I have him at number 2. But he worked his way up there. And him and Ray Davis were my winners in running backs. Just because Ray Davis is a bigger guy, and I forgot what he ran. He ran a 4.52. So he has speed, he has power, and he showed up in games last year for Kentucky. So, but other than that, the running back class was not impressive at all. Bryce, is there anybody else that you can think of that you think was a winner?
Out of the running back groups, I think he goes to Louisville. It's like Isaac Guerrero or something like that. He actually ran a low 4.3. I'm pretty sure. Him and Trey Benson are, I think, the only ones that kind of tested well in the 40-yard dash, but I didn't get to catch any of the on-field drills. I take a lot more. I invest a lot more on on-field drills and watching their footwork, catching passes out of the backfield and running wheel routes and stuff like that. I just put a lot more stock into on-field stuff more than a 40-yard dash, because 40-yard dashes with any position can kind of be misconstrued and like mistelling almost. But like you said, this running back class isn't the greatest that's ever come out. And in general, really, there's nobody that really stands head and shoulders above anybody else. And I think you're going to end up starting to see that more and more in future years coming into the NFL, because the NFL is it's a changing game at all times. And the running back position is kind of the position that's getting left behind almost. You know what I mean? Like they can, you're almost would be helpful to find a receiver kind of like Debo or Xavier Legette or something like that. Somebody who can catch passes out of the backfield, because running the ball is starting to become more and more forgotten about in the NFL.
Yep. Especially with the quarterback. More quarterbacks today have some type of, they're kind of a threat with their legs now. Like most of them come into the league with it. And that's part of your running game. So you don't necessarily have to have like this bell cow back. Even though us Eagles fans, we want one. And we kind of need one, I feel like. But for the most part, running backs they're just like a forgotten thing. They're still exciting. They still can make or break a team. But I feel like running back is one of the more plug and play positions that the NFL has to offer. You get a good line. You get a good coach with good run schemes. It's not hard. We're not running the ball like that though. But I mean, if you have some type of athleticism, you can probably run the ball. But you'll see that next week whenever we talk about our top running backs in this draft class. Is that I'm going to have different lists. Bryce is going to have a different list. Hunter's going to have a different list. It's just, and then like any other list you see online is going to be different from what we have. It's just there's nobody that really stands out. There's nobody that really does anything better than the other. It's just about what you have on tape and what you have at the combine. But yeah, Hunter, any other winner that you want to bring up?
Probably the only one is my personal winner. I don't think he tested at all this weekend, but I think Ray Davis really. Ray Davis, I don't know what happened in the 40.
He ran a 4.5.
4.5, okay. He seemed a little bit faster with the pads on. Don't know what happened, but he's still going to be an overall winner. Obviously, I don't know if anything happened in the interviews that made him jump up as well, but I think he's a good winner, especially because this isn't a good running back class.
Yep. By the way, we're recording this as the O-linemen are still testing. Obviously, it's kind of tough to say, "Hey, you're a winner, pal." But yeah. So we're gonna forget that they exist today, just for today and today only. We're gonna forget about them. Let's get negative. Let's talk losers. I know I mentioned the running back class as a whole. I'm going to say Dylan Johnson is a loser. I actually picked him in my mock, but he ran a 4.68, which he had opportunity to really like move the needle and gain some traction, because he's a bigger back. He's a tough runner, but he's just not fast, and he's not shifty. He does everything else well besides really run the ball and run the ball fast. So that sucks for him, because I actually like him. I like watching him on tape, but he didn't really check the boxes I needed to move up. So that's a loss for me. Bryce, you got a big loser?
Yeah. To me, I'm not going to really consider him a loser though, because I don't think it's much so his fault compared to just like a kind of a freak thing just kind of happening. I was really excited to see Nate Wiggins compete in like on-field drills, to watch his hips and his fluidity and his footwork and stuff like that. But him saying he felt something pop when he was running his 40 and still ran like a 4.29, it's pretty impressive. To pop something in your groin and still run a 4.29. It's going to be, to me, he's not a loser because I don't think it really affected his draft stock very much. But he had the opportunity to, if he tested well and was able to finish the day out and do on-field drills, definitely had the opportunity to move himself up into the number one cornerback talk.
Yep. Yeah, and the only negative with him is his frame. And if Emmanuel Forbes didn't exist, there might not be like some type of, I don't know, like GMs are probably going to look at him and Emmanuel Forbes and be like, I don't know if I want to take the risk. But I feel like Nate Wiggins is better than Forbes was coming out of college. But I mean, us Eagles fans know what happened to him, and AJ Brown destroyed that man. That was a fun game to watch. That was a fun game to watch, watching him blow up on the sidelines. But I hope Nate Wiggins does great, and I wouldn't be mad if the Eagles picked him. He just got to bulk up some, but he's fast. He's definitely fast. I don't know who is your big loser.
So mine might be maybe a controversial one. I say it's Kool-Aid.
Oh,
because
yeah.
So no one knew that he had that foot injury until literally the day before the draft or the combine. Now, especially because you have Mitchell testing, Wiggins testing, you have all those corners testing, and you're not able to separate yourself from them, it hurts for sure. Obviously, I think he said that he was going to go to his pro day. He was going to go through that first and then get surgery on it and see what happens from there. But I think just not being able to test himself in front of like a national spotlight, it hurts.
Yeah, definitely does. And it sucks because foot injuries are weird, but from what I've read, there seems to be like almost no chance that it like messes them up completely.
Right.
So I'm not worried about it, but like I said, there's always that possibility, and you just don't want to see it happen, especially somebody like him that had, I think he was going to go in the first round for sure. I still think he will, but there's always that doubt. Is there any winner from the quarterbacks at all that we can think of? I guess the only thing that we can think of is Joe Milton, that bomb. But
yeah,
to me, Joe Milton actually answered a lot more questions about himself than like his actual, like the big throw that everybody's seen. Obviously, we knew he had a lot of arm strength coming in. Me personally, I can't remember anybody besides Josh Allen who could sit back and take like a half-second pause and throw a football from the 10-yard line to the opposite 19. But the questions with him coming in were a lot about his intermediate game, his intermediate throws, and his footwork, because Tennessee works a lot under center, and he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't have to have a lot of footwork standing in the pocket when you under center like that. But I think Joe Milton actually he threw fairly well, and I can't remember his testing numbers, but from what I've seen from the on-field drills, I liked what I seen from Joe Milton.
Let's see. Joe Milton did not run the 40. He had a 35-inch vertical and a broad jump of 10 feet, 1 inch. So
It's not bad. It's not terrible.
But yeah, I mean that pass looked good. Any other winner we can think of? Because I saw a lot of miss passes. I don't think this is a strong quarterback class.
I mean, would JJ McCarthy be one?
He seemed like he struggled. He struggled to his throwing to, I believe it was his left side. Those passes, they didn't look good. They didn't look good at all. I mean, the quarterback group is weird because like it's super top heavy, and then like the middle guys are anywhere from like barely above average to like almost below average, and then it just drops off completely. But I don't think there was a winner. I don't think there was another winner.
It was Sam Hartman with the hair.
There was. He's gonna win over some fans. because of his good looks. He won me over sometimes, but my introduction to Sam Hartman was his play, and he is ass. So that hair just doesn't do it for me.
Right.
But quarterbacks, not really much to talk about. The only other loser I can think of, and it's weird because like my introduction to like draft talks and stuff, this guy was late first round, early second round, and now he's slowly dropping like to third round. It's Cam Kitchens. He didn't run a fast 40. I think he was the slowest out of all safeties at one point. Can't remember the exact number, but like I said, he started from, like I said, like late first round, early second round, and now he's just steadily dropping, and that's not good. He's a fantastic center field safety, right? He has enough speed to do it, but like everything else is like a question because he's not like super great in coverage, but he can play center field. It's the weirdest thing in the world, but he just, something's happening to him. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if something just not right up here. But he's falling, and he's falling quick. But if he turns out to be a player, I'm okay with it. If the Eagles draft him like the third round, I'd be okay with that 100%. But that's my big loser. Bryce, do you have a really big loser you want to talk about?
The one that's standing out to me just off the top of my head, kind of, I don't know, this kind of be like a kind of controversial opinion, whatever you want to call it, really. But Caleb Williams, I didn't like how he answered some of the questions that the reporters were asking him on why he didn't test and wasn't going to throw. But it just kind of seems like he's got like an entitled mindset, that he automatically thinks that he's head and shoulders better than everybody else. And how he said, the reporter asked him why he chose not to throw. He said he played 30-something games, and you've seen that he's like, he basically said, go turn on the tape and you'll see what kind of competitor I am. For one, if you were a competitor, wouldn't you throw against the other top quarterbacks? That's one question. I mean, that's one answer to that. Two, and if you turn on the tape, we'll see that you struggled against every good defense that you ever played. So, and you just seem like you feel like you got a sense of entitlement to yourself. And I hate to say it, because I hope he does good. I hope he succeeds in the NFL. I wouldn't ever want to prey on anybody's downfall, but if you have a sense of entitlement about yourself going to the National Football League, it's very easy to get humbled really quickly.
Yeah. I was going to ask that question. Cause like he did seem like he was like, his nose was up in the air and like nobody could touch him, you know? This is the same guy that cried in his mama's arms, you know, after a game. Like you can't be one thing and then try to be something you aren't. We know what you are. We know you're softy. And that's okay. That's okay to be that. Just stop trying to be somebody you aren't. And let's be honest, he's going to go first. It seems like it's going to happen regardless of what happens between now and then, unless, of course, he hurts himself. He's going to go first, but I feel like he's not winning over anybody, and he's not doing himself any favors when it comes to, like, when he gets on a team. Can you imagine what he's going to be like to the other players that are already there? He might rub him the wrong way, you know? So maybe he's not like a leader. Maybe he lacks that. Maybe GM see that. But I think he's going to be a first round pick regardless, or not first round pick, number one pick. But yeah, I don't know. He's a tricky one.
He is. I didn't like. There's a couple of other things I didn't like him doing. For one, said he wasn't going to release all like the medical documents or like to do the medical testing for all 32 teams. Basically said there's 32 teams and there's only one of me. That's a shitty answer. I mean, because if the way you see it, I mean, if you want to act like that, there is 32 teams that hold the fate of your career in their hands. They could all decide to pass on you, and then you'll lose yourself a lot of money. So I mean, if you can, I just don't like his mindset. I wouldn't like me personally. If I was gonna a GM, I wouldn't want him as the face of my franchise. That's just me.
Nope, totally understand. I totally understand. Any big time loser for you this weekend?
Mine was Kalen King. Already being projected to go, or let's go back to pre-season of college football. It's already projected to be a top pick, first round. Then he starts falling down. He was already coming in as a second to third round guy. Then he tested horrible. Now, who knows? He could be fourth, fifth. Obviously, I don't want him to be, because I would hope he's there for the taking for my Lions, because we need a corner. But
You need a lot more than a corner.
nice. But yeah, I felt like he definitely fell down.
Yeah, he did. It's crazy. Just because you don't see people fall that much. But clearly he has. To go from a day 1 pick to a day 3 to be picked on Saturday, that's rough. That's a humbling experience. So, it's crazy. It is crazy to me. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this show. Really. I know that we have a lot in store. It's just, winners and losers. Not everybody can be winners. Not everybody can be losers. There are a lot of I don't knows. And if your player wasn't talked about, it's probably I don't know. So I think next week we'll do top 5 running backs. We have like 50 something days until the draft. 54, I think. I may be wrong. And we'll have coverage all the way up until then. And after that, we got college football coverage. We're going to talk about 2025 prospects. That'd be fun. That'd be really fun. Just to keep up with all that. And if you listen to this show, I guarantee you learn something. You will learn something. Because I learn something every time I talk to you guys. So, but yeah, top 5 running backs next week. Then I want to do defense. I don't want to do tight ends. Fuck that. That's boring. I want to do defense. I'm gonna get crazy. Start with D-line, and then we'll figure out the rest of the schedule from there. But we'll end up doing mock drafts for all the teams shortly, especially once I think we'll target that once free agency kind of slows down, because a lot can change from now until then. But yeah, be on the lookout. We don't know the name yet for our new show. I have a couple in mind, but be on the lookout for that. Follow the Linc Lineup to get the information. But yeah, that was the show. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the show, if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, this is going to be an Eagles channel from now on. This is the last time you'll see a draft show. So remember that. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, wherever you listen to your podcasts, like the podcast, subscribe to it, follow it, whatever you do, leave a rating. That way you don't miss any one of our shows. But yeah, that'll do it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Later.